The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hi, everybody. Okay, for the record, that is parody. We are not trying to get sued. Hey, everyone. Harry Broadhurst here with your Wrestling to the Max 205 live review for October 24th. Yeah, I screwed up the date on SmackDown. It's past 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. You get what you get, people. We've had technical difficulties out the wazoo tonight. Isn't that right, my co-host, Miss Liz Pugliese?
It certainly is, my dear Harry. It certainly is.
All right, let me put this into perspective, everybody, so that way they get kind of an idea of what we're dealing with here. This is our second time attempting to record 205 Live, after having 3 different attempts to try to record SmackDown for you, and it is now 1:40 in the morning on the East Coast of Wednesday morning.
Which is why we sound like we do.
I believe the word I'm looking for is exasperated.
Yes, I think that might be a good word.
And hopefully I can pronounce ultimatum correct a little bit later on. Dun, dun, dun.
You just got it. Let's hope you can again.
For more information for the Wrestling to the Max Network, you can find us online at W2Mnet.com. You can find information about all things wrestling, football, video games, entertainment, soccer, and more by visiting www.W2Mnet.com. In addition, on occasion, these particular reviews get posted over at 401mania.com/wrestling and Last Word on ProWrestling.com. So we want to thank both of them for having us as well. With that being said, Liz, shall we try this again?
Do it.
Traditional start of the show video package focusing on the Kalisto and Enzo title match a little bit later on. We'll get to that in a bit. Our opening contest is the Teddy Long Special tag match player as Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander team up to take on the team of Noam Dar and Tony Nese. Your thoughts?
Hey, what's good? What's good? My name's Shamar Moore. You're about to find out that I'm Daniel Hondo Harrelson.
I just turned on my tablet by mistake, so there's your little craziness. It was a good match. I enjoyed seeing Dar there, because I can never say his first name correctly. Did what it had to do, really, just to further the team of Swann and Cedric, who I really enjoy together. Could definitely make a solid tag team. And then when our other pals came out, furthered the storyline. So
yeah, we kind of talked about how we felt Swann and Alexander, and I guess we have to have this discussion again, how I felt Swann and Alexander would actually be a welcome fit inside of the Raw Tag Team division, and frankly, they're not that much smaller than the current Raw Tag Team champions in Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
You know, I totally agree. And they definitely, actually, both brands, they definitely need some, solid tag teams and people that will be a tag team for a while and not just, obviously they're randomly thrown together in a sense, but two people that they work well together that they can, build on. I mean, how long is the Shield really gonna last? So, and even the Bar.
That depends on what website you ask on what day.
Yeah, right. I mean, I can fangirl over the Shield with, the best of them, so, the longer the better for me, but, it is what it is. But they do, as, everybody says, they do need some tag teams, and when we first tried to record this, I said something to the effect that, Sin Cara, he's a smaller guy that takes on the bigger guys all the time, and we've always had that. You have these giant, guys like Gallows and Anderson taking on, 2 smaller guys. Mix it up. It's all well and good, but I would love to see Cedric and Swann get some real, tag team action in.
All right. Anywho, we're interrupted after the match. Well, actually, technically during the match, but more specifically after the match, via microphone interruptus due to Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. They issue an ultimatum to Cedric Alexander to either join them or face the consequences by next week on 205 Live. I think Swann would be the one that could probably use a better freshening up for a heel turn, but at the same time, I don't see a reason to turn either of them heel with a heel champion Enzo Amore.
Yeah, I definitely don't see either one of them. Cedric, I definitely don't see him taking them up on the offer. They're a very generous offer there. What the true purpose of their offer is will be interesting, to see. Is it just to mess with them, or what is their ultimate goal with this little crazy faction that they're trying to put together?
Well, I mean, technically, it's more of a case of getting inside of their heads, and you could kind of see Swann and Alexander onto that as they were pointing to their heads before we cut to a commercial for Survivor Series.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, but I think in the sense that, they have to at least make it seem like Gallagher and Kendrick have this bigger plan, that they're trying to, even delusional or whatever that they're building up to, than just randomly messing with people, or maybe that's all in my head, which is fine.
We come back from the Survivor Series commercial, which, by the way, November 19th, you'll be able to listen to myself and Patrick Ketza on WU Reacts cover the Survivor Series here on the W2M network, with Drew Gulak in the ring talking about his views for a better 205 Live and his opinion of a Drewtopia, as it were. He then says that since his shtick was pulled from the TLC pre-show, and you can never mess with a guy's shtick, that he is going to go back over all 277 slides of his PowerPoint presentation, starting with number 1, which, in case you don't remember, is no jumping off of the top rope. Interrupting him, also breaking one of the PowerPoint slide rules, is Mr. Top Rope himself, Gran Metalik.
Good match. Kept Drew's gimmick going, kept the thing, him being interrupted going, which is also enjoyable. We were saying it before, and I really like Drew. I think he has a lot of potential. Second to Enzo, he's definitely probably the best one on the mic there. I mean, Kendrick is, pretty decent. So is Gallagher. A lot of the other ones just need some, have a lot of potential, need some more time. It was, it was a good match for the middle of the show.
Yeah, nothing really blow away in the ring tonight on 205 Live. This was the best match of the three, in my opinion, but none of them were up. None of them were up to the traditional 205 Live blow away match standard. That being said, Gulak does pick up the win with the Gulak, and yes, that is what he calls it. Even though the commentary team couldn't be bothered to tell you that, the Body Scissor Dragon Sleeper. He goes to continue the attack post-match on Gran Metalik when he is interrupted by the returning Akira Tozawa.
Again, just, further the storyline, keeps a nice little, mid-level rivalry going.
In my opinion, how we talked the last time we did this 2 weeks ago, and I want to take once again a real quick second to thank Gary Vaughn for sitting in for me last week. We talked about the fact that 205 Live traditionally has the best match on television in any given week on WWE television. I feel like Gulak and Tozawa, given the time and opportunity to put together a match, would be able to do that and continue in that tradition.
Yeah, I think given the time, they could put on a huge match. That would be an amazing opportunity for them both.
So Enzo still doesn't have a voice. Therefore, his promo tonight is cut by Arya Daivari. Sorry, Arya. Gulak did it way better on Raw. But we do officially talk about something that has been kind of bothering people about the fact that people have aligned with Enzo. Liz, you were the one who originally brought this up in our first episode, so I'll let you talk about it here.
Yeah, I think as a lot of people were, on the internet, were saying it doesn't make any sense. Certainly, there's people behind him. But it has been hinted at that it's, all about the money, and Daivari did pretty much spell it out for us tonight, which was nice. I liked the way he did it as well.
Yeah, it had always been implied that it was Payola that got the guys, Daivari, Dar, Nice and Gulak onto Enzo's side. Daivari outright came out and said it tonight. So you finally have that little bow tied onto that particular part of the storyline. Now, what I would like a little bow tied onto is Enzo and Kalisto inside of the ring against each other, because this was... there. I think would be the nicest way I can describe it. It was there. Yeah. Now, I understand that Enzo is sick, but at the same time, Enzo's not that great of a worker to begin with. So if he wasn't capable of talking on the microphone, he's probably not capable of wrestling either. Therefore, you probably would have been better off to postpone this match or to not have it again at all.
Yeah, I can definitely live with them not having it at all, but postponing them as much as I would love to not have that match again ever again, at least in the near future. 205 has so many less people. You can't really, you could say, oh, he's sick, or have him there, he's too sick and do something. But I guess they figured that they already changed so much during the week that they were gonna, push on with it.
Well, my Wrestling Unwrapped co-host, Patrick Ketza, pointed out that one of the main symptoms of mumps is loss of voice.
Yes, that is very, very true. I was actually, before we realized it wasn't recording last time, I was actually asking, because a couple people were saying online, wondering if he was really sick or if they were just, winking and nodding, at the fans. I tend to think he's actually, really sick, and, that they're just working with it, because it's with 205, it's, like I said, so few people that they kind of need to keep it going. But on the other shows, you'd never see the champions either, so what would be the difference?
I feel like if this is a match that hadn't been heavily promoted on Raw last night by them announcing the fact that it was happening on Raw, that they probably wouldn't have gone through with it tonight should they have had the knowledge of Enzo's condition that they had here. Enzo does retain the title as Kalisto wins by disqualification thanks to Enzo kicking the referee into the ropes. Now, you usually don't see a referee call for a disqualification in a spot like that. Do you think we get something down the road where if Enzo gets himself disqualified or something, he loses the title in a rematch? And more importantly, do you care?
I mean, every time you hit a ref, they tend to end the match, or they used to anyway, so I wasn't too, worked up about that. I thought that, people will complain about it, the way it ended, but the disqualification, but it was a good way of getting the match that they felt they needed in, and having anybody pinned again. I mean, it depends on one by pinning him again. Then really, how do you keep, going on from there? Okay, you pinned him again. Why are you going to give him another shot? A little bit of a twisted way to keep it going on a bit.
Yeah, but so many people are so over it already, and you have a ready-made challenger in the wings and Cedric Alexander, in my opinion. I don't understand the obsession with keeping Kalisto in the title picture right now.
Yeah, me either. Not a bit.
Unfortunately, due to his seeming dedication, endless though it may be, of Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, there you go. And that's going to wrap up 205 Live for the week. Want to put a final score on this thing before we get out of here?
I'll give it a 6. Just because it was there. It did what it needed to do. There was nothing really to write home about. If I wasn't on here talking to you about it, I probably wouldn't mention it at all.
See, I'm actually a little bit lower than you. I'm going to give it a 5. This was a just there episode of 205 Live. No standout match. The Cruiserweight title match ends on a schmoz finish with the disqualification. And the only kind of actual development that we get out of tonight's episode is the return of Akira Tozawa.
It could have been done at any time, though.
I mean, I like Akira Tozawa, but his return isn't enough to save this show. This is a completely skippable episode of 205 Live, in my opinion.
Yes, which I probably would have skipped it again if I was not coming on here to record this with you. Because it's just, there wasn't anything that was jumping out even after the pay-per-view.
You know what isn't skippable, Liz? Our SmackDown Live review. Also available in the archives now.
Very true. I'll be sure to tweet it.
Also, if you're interested in any more content from your friends over here at the Wrestling to the Max Network, you can find us online at www.w2mnet.com. Video games, soccer, football, wrestling, entertainment, and so much more. You can find it over at w2mnet.com. In addition, we want to thank once again Word on Pro Wrestling for having us there as well. We appreciate it. So, for my executive producer, Sean Garmer, and my co-host, Ms. Liz Pugliese, I'm Harry Broadhurst saying thanks for listening to this week's Wrestling to the Max 205 Live review here on the W2M Network. Talk to you next Tuesday night, everybody. Or whatever.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.